this could be bad, right? This could be, are you going to do like a countdown and then I die? 10, 9, 8, oh,
Or it
Christ.
could be really
Or
good.
your cells are behaving really old. Like mine, my biological age, for example, is 77.
What, sorry?
Yeah, 77. So my cells are not
And
efficient.
how old are you?
78. So it's a good result.
Yeah. Okay, come on, what's my biological age? What have we got?
Your biological age,
Is
it's under this cloche.
Is it?
Yes.
Why? Is that because it's a...
It's a big reveal. It's a format
Oh,
point
sure.
that we've
Well,
just
okay.
done for this series.
All right,
For
great.
the first time, and it's going well.
Okay.
Jimmy Carr, your biological age.
Is under a cloche.
This is What's My Age Again, the podcast where we test biological age against the number on your passport.
Oh, it's very good. You've gone into sort of a phone voice
My
for the
guest
intro, please.
Today
My guest today.
is Jimmy Carr. Stand-up comedian, TV host, relentless tourer, and a man who has spent decades performing late at night, living on adrenaline. I just like hearing these, and quietly obsessing over self-improvement. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Jimmy looks younger than he is. He's open about cosmetic tweakments, intermittent fasting, cold plunges, and doing whatever it takes to stay sharp.
Ooh.
Today, we're asking the question no Botox can answer. Has Jimmy Carr actually slowed aging or just hidden it?
This is a very good introduction.
It's great.
I'd be interested to listen to this.
Well, before you joined us today, Jimmy Carr, we took your blood and we sent it to the labs at Glycanage, and they conduct an advanced biological age test that looks into chronic inflammation and immune health.
Did they?
I don't know, or they made some embryos. I'm not sure what they did.
Yeah, I mean, they've cloned me, probably. I'm not even sure this is the real me.
We will be joined by Dr. Nicola Conlon later, who will interpret the results for you. But your face suggests you've beaten time.
Well,
What
there's-
is-
I mean, there's a lot of this is new.
What is your chronological age?
What? How old am I?
Yeah.
Why would you ask it like that?
That's
what
what
is
we
your
ask.
chronological age?
Because then we compare
Just
it to your biological age.
The hell are you talking about?
We don't
How old are you is how you phrase that.
No, because how old are you might be what's under this cloche.
Cloche. It's
Yeah.
not The Apprentice. No one's ever used the term cloche, chronological age. I'm 53. I was born in 72.
Okay.
So it's a great era.
It
I'm
is
a great vintage.
And how do you look like this? Let's go through like,
What do you mean? How do I look like this? Well,
Well,
I've got kind of a, I don't know. I've made the, they say you can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. I've made the best of a bad lot. I was, this is it. And I've kind of, I don't know, I've maintained it.
I think you look great. You look younger than ever. And what you and I share in common, I think, are two things when it comes to show business and looks wise, is that people talk about us having plastic surgery. I don't think you've had any actual surgery with knives.
No, there's been no knives involved. Yeah.
So no plastic surgery,
But lots of little treatments.
like
Lots
Botox.
of, yeah, Botox and a little bit of filler and, just it's a tiny little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think doing a little bit often is kind of the way to go. And you can't really, reverse time. You can kind of hold it there for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's a visual medium and you want to kind of look your best. And, so the big thing I had done was a hair transplant, which is kind of crazy. But, I don't know, bit of vanity, why not?
And I think there's a misconception that people would do something like that, presumably to look younger. Were you doing it to look younger, or were you doing it to maintain a brand?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it was, I don't know. I think if you've got a problem that money can solve and you've got money, then you don't have a problem. Like I was receding a little bit. And not receding, like I had kind of my hairline. I didn't like it. And I didn't like the way it looked on camera. So, and you're watching yourself back. I think this job, I would see myself twice a day. If I was a middle-aged man with a regular job, I'd see myself shaving and brushing my teeth. And that's kind of it for the day. You spend a lot of time in front of the mirror. But because of the job and you're constantly looking at stuff on social media and reviewing things and okaying them, you're looking at yourself constantly.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a healthy way to be, but it does make you kind of more aware of stuff. So, and I've always been kind of, I'm a little bit, I suppose, conscious of my look. So I like dressing in a suit. I like trying to make the best of what I got.
And did you come to this look organically in your career? Like, did it evolve, or were you just one day like, I'm going to be the sharp looking guy who tells like really smart jokes in a suit, and this is what works
No,
for.
I think it's kind of organic. Like, I don't think you can, there's two things, isn't there? There's character and reputation. There's what you know about yourself and there's what other people see. And you've got to be aware of both. And I think if I wear casual clothes, I look like an undercover cop at Glastonbury. Cowabunga kids wear the good drugs.
That's not true.
That's the look. So I like, three-piece suit and a tie. I also like that thing on stage of just from a sort of performance point of view of going, I look like I'm in charge.
Yeah.
People feel kind of comfortable with the authority figure on stage, and they've paid good money to come to the theatre. The least I can do is put on a suit and a tie, because it feels like this is the production design for a stand-up comedian. This is the whole production is, oh, you put a tie on. Well done.
I don't think all the guys, I like that you do it. You see a lot of guys still like schlepping up in a hoodie and jeans. And I agree that it's lower status than how you look now.
Yeah. And I suppose the illusion of that is I didn't prepare anything. I haven't done my homework. I'm just going to talk. And you go, yeah, we've all prepared. We've got jokes ready.
Yeah.
No one's just winging it.
When you were doing stand-up in your 20s, did you dress smart then?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe the tie is slightly, I feel more comfortable in a tie now.
Yeah.
It's gone three-piece as well recently.
It's very nice. You have a tailor, presumably?
Of course.
Yeah.
Tom Sweeney, the best.
Yes. And it's all bespoke.
Yeah,
And I feel respected by that.
I like going to the tailor as well. I really enjoy the whole process. The whole thing of going and buying. I'm sure people just think he's got one suit. They all look the same. I've got lots, but
You have lots.
I love them.
Do you think it makes you more body conscious then to have like your inseam measured all the time and how, you know what I mean?
The best bit. I'm pretty body conscious as it is. I mean, I would say not. I think I've got like an eating disorder, but I think I'm very conscious of weight, very conscious of staying sort of trim in a way that's probably on balance, maybe not the healthiest.
Really?
Yeah, I think the sort of body dysmorphia sort of thing was always associated with women, with bulimia and anorexia, and I think increasingly there's a lot of men that become very body conscious. I think it's probably a product of social media as much as anything else. But men seem very self-conscious.
They do. They definitely do. And they're in the gym more and they're like waxing and doing all kinds of things. And they're doing hair transplants. What is it specifically do you think about hair that is so important for men? Because I feel like women get procedures for themselves a lot more than they do for the male gaze. And I think equally men who get hair transplants.
For themselves, my friend Will Storr wrote that great book, The Status Game. And I think we're in different status games. And I think women, it's intrasexual, not intersexual. So women compete with other women. So the Louboutin shoes for women or the Rolex watch for men, like I've never met a woman that really cares about your watch particularly, or a guy that goes, oh my God, look at the Birkin on her. Yeah. Like, no, like we don't, but within the sex, it matters. Yeah. So those things we do it for, when you say women do it for themselves, I think they do it for other women. True. I think men do it for other men. I think like the whole six-pack thing is very much for other men at the gym rather than for a woman. But that doesn't mean that it's not valid. It's just, you know what game you're playing, I suppose.
And you think men care about hair for other men?
I think men care about hair if they care about hair. I know lots of guys that just went bald and went, yeah, who cares? Yeah. Doesn't make any difference. For some people, it's a bigger deal. So, but again, if it's important to you, do it. Like getting your teeth done is of no interest to some people. They just go, what? I've just got whatever, kind of green teeth, yellowy green teeth. I don't care. And it doesn't seem to affect their careers particularly, even in show business. It's fine. And then I like mine to be on point.
Yeah. Well, because you're international and teeth matter abroad quite a lot, actually. Yeah. So what are you doing then to stay trim if you say that your eating is bordering on disordered?
Oh, well, not disordered, but I'm quite particular about it. And on the road as well, you tend to eat, it's not as healthy as you would like it to be on the road because it's just hard to eat well. It's Mike Birbiglia had a great bit about this, about how healthy food goes to bed early. Like try and get a salad after 11 p.m.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't exist. Like junk food is out late, being irresponsible. Healthy salad goes to bed at 7. There's none around. And often it's that thing of like after you've done a gig, you crave carbs. There's a weird kind of cycle of you don't want to eat pre-show, post-show. If I'm doing 2 shows, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. If you're eating anything at that time, it's going to be awful.
So do you do intermittent fasting then?
I sort of naturally do that of like, I tend to eat once a day.
Have you eaten today?
No.
Just black coffee, water?
Black coffee, water, yeah.
When will be the first time that you eat something?
Maybe this evening.
Not until the evening.
Yeah.
And you feel like that gives you sharpness and energy?
I've got more energy when eating is, I find like pre-show, I'll get like tired if I eat sort of pre-show. I
Yeah.
like to feel kind of,
Because I think that
fresh.
of any guest, you will probably have access to the most like interesting biohacking, longevity, like cold plunge.
I do a sauna cold plunge. I'm
Yeah.
quite the cliche. Sauna cold plunge every day.
So do you think that youth for you is from the inside out? This is a like holistic program where you look very young, but you're looking after your body.
Well, I think that thing about like, I think it's like Socrates or something. It's like anyone that goes to a doctor that hasn't seen a chef first is a fool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's what you put in your body is going to make the biggest difference.
Mhm.
So I try and eat reasonably clean, but it's hard,
Yeah.
and my taste in food is for junk.
Really?
I really like junk.
What's your favorite junk?
I don't know. I like when traveling. I love a McDonald's.
No way.
Love them. Well, because their hygiene system is the same globally.
Yeah.
So sometimes if you're somewhere and you don't know what the good restaurant is in this crazy Eastern European town you find yourself in, you go, well, I know McDonald's will be fine.
And
I know I'll be fine.
What's your Mackey's order?
I would go, I'd get just a plain cheeseburger, and nuggets. Great. What more do you want?
Do they freak out when they see you at McDonald's?
Yeah, if it's late enough at night, people do lose their minds. So you doing it?
Do you get any dips for the McNugs?
Yeah, I'd go with the barbecue.
Wow.
Go with the barbecue. Why not?
And how often is this happening?
Oh, like, I don't know, once every couple of weeks, I guess.
Okay.
Something like that. That's it. That sounds reasonable. The poison's in the dose, I think, with all of these things.
Yeah. You've spoken about prioritize later. So walk me through this idea.
Well, I suppose that thing of going, we've all got to serve someone,
Yeah.
right? And if you want to be selfish about it, you can serve yourself
Mhm.
in 24 hours' time. What could you do today that you'll be glad you did tomorrow? So you wake up and you go, oh, I did the work, wrote some jokes, and I ate right, and I took care of myself. Like it's easy to think, well, what's going to make me happy in 24 hours' time, rather than like, I'm going to do this and it's a New Year's resolution and I'll see results in 3 months. Like, what are the simple things that are going to make you happy? And it's like sleep and diet and exercise are going to be the thing. You move more, eat less. Great, get some sleep. It's real simple stuff. But it's like, it's almost like there's a guy, Charlie Munger. You ever heard of this guy?
No.
Big investor, but he's a very bright man. He wrote lots, and he had an inversion theory. So it was like, it's very difficult to tell what's going to make you happy. But what will make you sad? Easy, right?
Yeah.
We're going to deprive you of sleep. We're going to feed you, massively hyper-processed foods, and we're going to feed you booze and drugs. You'll be miserable in a week. We know that. So it's like reversing those things and going, okay, well, what are the things that can make me happy and productive? So I think that like being kind to yourself, especially as I'm getting older, I go like if I'm on a flight and stuff, yeah, it's lovely to have a drink on a flight. Makes it go quicker, but I can't.
You don't drink at all on the
I
flight.
can't drink on a flight. I can't eat on a flight. I've got to just be on your body doesn't want to be on a plane.
Yeah.
Nothing about it is good. Like your stomach's like, it's like so that thing of like going, you can indulge yourself when you're in your 20s. You can drink and drug and have lots of fun. But
I know it just doesn't hit the same. Like after 40, I can't even do it anymore. So you should, I think the message is get as wasted as you can in your 20s. Enjoy it then. And
I
then
don't know. I've got a spicy take on drugs. Right? Here's my take on drugs. Like certainly for marijuana.
Yep.
I think for weed, I think should be illegal for the under 30s. I think it's a performance inhibiting drug. I think especially so many young men that are just sitting in basements smoking weed and they're doing nothing, and it robs people of their ambition in the crucial years. I think weed should be legal 30 to 50. And then I think over 50, mandatory.
mandatory. Yeah.
Well, because old men are taking all the cash,
Yeah.
and the redistribution of wealth would be aided by men going, slow down.
Yeah, it works.
Men in their 50s need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah. And you know a lot of very powerful men in their 50s.
Sure.
Yeah. And do
Sure.
they all subscribe to kind of the lifestyle choices that you do? Is this like an understood thing amongst like really rich and successful
I
guys?
don't think so. No, I think there's, you see people and they look ruined.
Yeah.
You think?
They're not
Like, do you see-
changing it up?
No, I don't know. I mean, look, I think it's the same in every age cohort. There's like people that take care of themselves and people that don't. And I think it's that thing where, I don't know, I suppose it's where your priorities are.
Because there seems to be a shift, due maybe to the popularity of guys like Rogan talking about biohacking and whatever else they're doing, and they're doing infusions of things. Like, how far into that do you think you would go? Like, where would you draw the line to be sharp and young and beautiful?
I think if it works, then, you know, I mean, the wisdom at the moment seems to be if you live until 2030, you'll last another 20 years. Yeah, the technology's coming along so quickly now. We live in the kind of the greatest age for all of this stuff, and it's all kind of new and exciting. I think, you know, taking care of yourself just seems to be the important thing. Like exercise and sleep is incredibly important, and it's just so boring though, right?
How do you sleep though? Because how many tour shows did you do in the last year?
Did maybe 270 last year, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
That's so many. And then you're also on flights, and you also have kids and a family and a social life. So how many hours a night are you sleeping?
I get around 8.
That's wild.
Yeah, I'm pretty good on sleep.
And do you not get jet lagged?
No, I use what do I use? I'm not being paid by these people, but I think it's called Flight Kit.
Okay.
Fly Kit. Let me check. It's an app, and they sell you drugs.
Wow.
But it's all the melatonin and stuff because it's the melatonin. Your circadian rhythms go out, and your and it's about inflammation, and it takes out both. Yeah, it's called FlyKit. FlyKitt. It's
Okay.
good. It's really good for that thing of like, because if I fly, I've just done New Zealand, so I flew to New Zealand.
Yeah.
It's like 24 hours on a plane, and then I arrive at 4 p.m, and then I've got 2 shows that night. So you really don't have time for jet lag.
No.
Which is great. If you put yourself in that situation, you go, well, I'm going to have to do the 2 shows, and then I'm going to be tired afterwards. So, whereas I think if you arrive and you've got nothing to do, if I arrived the day before, I would have gone to bed at 6:30 and absolutely, you know, messed up my system.
So you're doing all the obvious things just in good practice. You're sleeping well, you're eating well.
I mean, no. I mean,
Most of the time.
some of the 80% of the time.
Okay. And do you work out?
Yeah, but not as much as I should.
No.
No, I think.
Are you?
But I think everyone thinks that, right?
I mean, I know that I don't work out as much as I should.
No, Christ, yes. We've had letters.
Yeah. What about any like spicy peptides, tricks, like anything else that you're doing
I've
to
tried
see?
all the peptides. I've tried all of that stuff. I didn't see tremendous results, but I think there's got to be something the matter for you to be taking peptides, really. to see
Something the matter.
results. Well, or they seem to be, that technology seems to be improving exponentially. Like every couple of years, there's something new comes out. So it's the GLP-1 drugs came out, the Ozempics and the Mounjaro, all of that stuff, which is fantastic, really. It's kind of a revolution. That was the key bit of technology. Like people talking about AI, oh, it's changing the world. You go, no, those things are really changing the world.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be, it's a chemical for satiety. And so many people have a problem because we live in this world of abundance, like calorie-wise, compared to 100 years ago. The whole of our existence was about, let's get as many calories in as we can. And then suddenly this abundance happened. And these, you know, overly processed foods as well that are just hitting every note perfectly.
Yeah.
So people are overeating and indulging, and there's more of everything now. So those, but you go, well, what else are they going to do? Are they going to come up with one of those that's an injection for exercise? Are they going to come up with something that increases your brain function? Who knows? But presumably they will come up with more.
And you'll have access to it first.
It's going to be incredible.
Let us know.
Yeah.
What are the most like outlandish things that you're doing? Because Kim Kardashian said she would eat shit if it made her look young and stay young forever.
That's literally a thing that people do.
I know. Oh,
There's a thing
yeah.
called a fecal transplant. My friend had one.
Talk
So my
to me
friend
about
had
that.
like Crohn's disease. Not Crohn's. It was very similar to Crohn's in terms of the symptoms. Crohn's are much more difficult to treat, I believe. So she had like stomach cramping, like was just in pain the whole time. And someone went, "Oh, we're going to give you a fecal transplant." She went, "What?" This is like 10 years ago in LA. She went, "What?" She went, we're going to get someone else's poop and we're going to stick it in you. You can either have it literally stuck in you, or you can take poop capsules. You can literally eat it, which I imagine those are some spicy burps.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
can't be good, can
Oh
it?
my gosh.
Okay, here's my question on this. How did the doctor discover this? Like, the doctor must have come in, someone must have tried this for the first time. It's relatively recent. He must have come in on a Monday morning and gone, I've had a hell of a weekend. I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I feel terrific. Things are going to change. Well, how did you get this idea? Long story.
Yeah. Are you doing anything specific for your gut microbiome?
Not much.
Just
no.
eating fruit and veg.
Yeah.
On the subject of mental health, though, because I think you're very serene in that area, or you certainly seem like you are. For someone who did 270 something shows and who works all of the time, presumably you've come here from work and you're leaving to go to another thing. How do you keep your stress levels low, or are you secretly stressed?
I think stress is a feature, not a bug.
Okay.
Think about the gym, right? We talk about, everyone, we should go to the gym. Well,
Mm-hmm.
why go to the gym? What are you doing in the gym? You're stressing your muscles so they become stronger,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I view sort of stress as in the same way. So I go, well, actually, you can't have an easy life and a great character. You have to put yourself outside your comfort zone. So that thing of like going, we get used to stuff. There's the sort of, you get used to how good things are or how hard things are. The weight doesn't get lighter, the back gets stronger. So if you're used to doing gigs, it becomes easier. If you're used to writing jokes every day, it becomes easier. If you level up to the next kind of a bigger room or a bigger space, a more difficult thing to carry off, and you just kind of work at it, and it's kind of fun. I think stress is like, obviously you don't want people to be, having a panic attack, but a little bit of stress is not a bad thing.
Did you have any times, like even when you were younger, that were stressors for you, or were like shaped you into someone who was going to take on a lot of work and have this worldview? Like, what are the bad things that shaped you that way?
I don't know if there was an event. I think a lot of it is heritable. So even things like work ethic are it's quite largely heritable. So it's a gratitude practice is very useful because you're lucky that you have that. If you have that kind of work ethic, if you can do that, you put the hours in, it's kind of things become easier.
Did you have to do chores when you were a kid?
Not really, not much.
No
Nothing,
chores?
nothing much. Nothing that was difficult. No.
Like, did
I
you
don't think I did anything.
load the dishwasher, mow the lawn?
Yeah, that kind of thing. But
That's chores.
yeah, but that's nothing.
Did you have to make your bed, clean your room,
A little bit, not much. I would say.
put your
I don't
toys
know.
away?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
What toys did you have?
I think I had lots of little Star Wars figurines, which my kids now
Yeah,
love.
yeah.
Like you just got rebuying the same stuff. Culture seems to be broken. We're buying the same stuff again.
No, that's the best stuff. And did your mom just clean up after you?
Yeah, Mum did an awful lot of around the house, but she suffered, I think, a lot with her mental health. So it's kind of hard to keep things together. But that's
So
fine.
you had struggle in that way, like you had the heaviness
Not
of
really. I think you have I think that's probably why. I always think that question of like with any comedian, there's only really one question: which of your parents was sick?
Yeah.
And either physically or mentally, one of your parents had a problem, and you had to be the emotional thermostat for the room, to be able to make things okay. So you kind of get good at doing that, and then that kind of leads to this job.
And you have siblings. Were you all like that, or were you?
No, I
This-
just had that.
And you're the oldest one.
No, I'm the middle,
Oh,
but my younger brother's much younger, so.
fine. Okay. And were you expected to perform at school really well?
No, I was very dyslexic. So I was kind of, and dyslexic used to be called just being dumb. So it was like, this guy can't spell and he can't seem to read. Didn't seem to matter. I was quite likable and charming. I think that's a more useful thing than being academically gifted.
Yeah.
And then I kind of figured it out when I was about 15, 16.
So there wasn't a lot of pressure for you to perform well. Your parents accepted that you were dyslexic at
I
school.
don't think they minded particularly. I don't think they thought I was particularly bright or.
It's just weird because you work so hard and you're so effective at your work and you're so talented and you're so funny and everybody loves you and you have so many friends.
Stop.
But it seems like you didn't have to make your bed and there wasn't pressure for you to do well at school.
I think I put myself under quite a lot of pressure.
Okay.
Like I remember I was about maybe 16. I moved schools when I was 16 and became acutely aware that you are a story you tell yourself. Because I arrived at this new school and went, and I stopped messing around. Like none of the messing around at the first school came with me. And I kind of went, I'll just work hard here.
Just reinvent yourself.
Yeah, you do. It's why go traveling? Why do kids go traveling? You kind of reinvent yourself. You don't want to be with the same, like, I think that's, is a weird thing now where because of social media, because people are keeping a track of everything, it all looks like hypocrisy. But you make leaps, you have to change your mind about stuff, I'd rather be a hypocrite than the same person all my life. You kind of change, you go through different phases.
Was it a mixed school?
It was a mixed school till I was 16, and then I went to an all-boys school for the last 2 years.
Oh.
And I fell in with the right crowd. And I'm very grateful of that. I think you kind of can't beat your environment. And that's your parents when you're very young. But very quickly that becomes your peers and the other people you're kind of hanging out with.
So boys' school worked for you. And was your crowd like a theatrical, creative crowd, or you just
No,
found?
very, very sporty, but like just fun. I think that thing of like fun was everything. I really subscribed to that thing of everyone was funny at school. It wasn't like I stood out as the funny one. It was like everyone was hilarious. And then it's that great old quote about we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing.
Yeah.
Everyone else got serious, and I never did.
And did you play sports?
No.
You just hung out with the sporty guys who were funny,
Yeah, they were fun.
and you were never bullied at this school,
Never bullied. Kind of,
despite the photos I've seen of your hair.
yeah, quite long, crazy hair.
What, did everyone look like that?
No, I just had really long hair. I kind of liked it. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but yeah.
So you're just kind of this
No,
guy.
not bullied. I mean, looking back, I did see my friends. I just still see the guys from RGS a lot, and they're all enormous. I could see why I wasn't bullied because my friends were huge. What was anyone going to say?
And you just fell in with the right crowd. You're still friends with them now. Do they come to see your shows?
No, not very much. No,
Really?
no. There's like I don't know. Somehow that's never seemed to be a thing.
Oh.
I would feel like I was showing off if they came to see a show.
It is awful when people that you know ask to come and see the show, and then you have to like look after them backstage. And I always think nobody goes to your work. No one's like, "Can I come to the engineering office today and like look over your shoulder?" Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've spoken about like not being in serious romantic relationships until like a later age.
Yeah, I mean, lots of fooling around school or college, but nothing serious, no kind of, and then, yeah, so that.
And then you met your lovely partner and you have kids now. So what are you doing then to make sure that your kids have that mixture of struggle? Because presumably being Jimmy Carr's kids,
I don't know. I mean, it's like
it's going to be a really easy life.
Alain de Botton had a great line on it. He said, you know, you've done parenting well if your kids don't want to be famous.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how we do.
I think I'm getting it wrong already, actually, because I do too much for my kids and I'm really uncomfortable. I don't know if it's because I had like financial insecurity when I moved here and then I made wrong relationship choices and I disappointed everyone and I had to like be a single mom in this country. I don't know why it is, but I get really uncomfortable if I think about my daughter who's 16 and should absolutely have to budget. If I think about her like not having enough money for something or having to like make decisions about what to buy and not buy, like I get so uncomfortable with that feeling.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great problem to have. If you have the resource to help, I think you should help. That thing of like going, I read that book, oh God, who wrote it? Die with Zero. Did you read that?
No.
It's a really good book about like money and like one of the big takeaway points is when should you give your kids money? And the guy's opinion is it should be mid-20s. Because if you wait until people live until they're 90 now, what are you going to give a 60-year-old some money? Well, it's not going to change their life. Like mid-20s is when it could make a difference because that kid could then go, well, I want to be a nurse or a firefighter and I can afford to do that because they gave me my inheritance early. So I can afford to do the thing that I want to do. That's when it will make the difference. It doesn't make any difference when they're 45, they've made their life.
Yeah. I've read the opposite, where people have trust funds and money set aside that matures at age 18. And now that Gen Z is so useless, they're pushing it back. They're like, 30.
Yeah, but I think you are who you are.
Yeah.
Mid-20s, you are who you are. Even at 30, you're going to be the same person.
Well, you've really, I think, been on a lot of different platforms over the last few years, being serious and being really like insightful and helping people. I think people are seeing this different side to you. Even in your show, you answer dilemmas in the second section in a really considered way.
Well, sometimes I think it's whatever's appropriate. I mean, I always think that the live comedy show is like you want it to be 95% funny. Like you want 3 big laughs a minute. You want it to be a really fun evening and transgressive and edgy and feel like it's in the room. And then if there's a couple of serious moments, it's like people get that. It's kind of life's like that, right? It's funny and serious. And, sometimes you feel like you could answer something honestly.
But how important to health and wellness generally do you think having these insights can be? Like knowing so much about the world and being clever and being serious. Like you seem really self-actualized lately. Do you think that keeps you young?
No, I mean, I don't know whether if that's the perception, then great. But it feels like it's just, I think the work keeps you young. I
Yeah.
think doing the work and doing it often and taking some pride in that and being competent at something is really lovely.
Is there anything that stresses you out in a bad way? Like, what's the most stressed that you get?
I don't think I get that stressed. I mean, like,
At all.
like, gigs can be, sometimes there's like, if you step back from it, you could go, well, that feels like that's a pressure show because there's a lot of people there. But if you're playing the O2 and there's 15,000 people, you go, well, you're not playing to 15,000 people. You're playing to one person 15,000 times.
Yeah.
They're all having an individual experience. Like, you're not in a crowd. You're sort of sitting there. There's other people around you. Everyone's bought a ticket. Everyone wants to be there. It's like you can be pressured about that and give yourself a hard time, which is cool. Well, it's okay. This is what we train for.
Do you miss pressure and feeling nervous in the traditional sense? Like, presumably when you started and you hadn't done probably millions of shows now, did you used to feel sick and nervous and bad stressed?
Yeah. I was. Yeah, you would feel, and then I suppose that thing about, but however you talk about that makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Because is it nerves or is that excitement? Well, it's kind of the same feeling, right? It's that thing about, like, if you had heart palpitations and you were sweating and aching and you couldn't think straight, you in the high street, you would go to the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. If you had that same feeling exactly in the gym, you would think, what a great workout. It's context dependent. Sometimes feeling stressed and anxious is appropriate. It's fine. Like, okay, well, sometimes at work, it's like, oh, that's a big gig. I want to do well.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big podcast, or whatever the thing is, you go, oh, I want to do well at that. Okay, that's fine. That's motivating.
Would you say that the hardest thing in your life thus far has been losing your mom? We have a grief section now.
A grief section.
Yeah, it's the grief section.
I think that thing about grief is hidden away. There's a guy, Stephen Jenkinson, I think is his name, who's like the grief walker, who writes brilliantly about this, about grief and loss and how people talk about getting over grief or getting through grief. It's nonsense. You walk with grief.
Yeah.
It's with you, and it's cumulative over a lifetime. So someone dies and you go, okay, and then the dog dies and you're in a puddle. Because actually animals, sometimes it's easier to grieve animals than humans because human relationships are quite complex. Relationships with animals, it's just a little thing that loves you. So when that goes, you're in bits.
And it's like a baby, it's I think when adults get older and maybe you have time to accept if they happen to have had a full life and have died in the most gentle sense. But anytime a dog dies, that dog could be 20 years old and it still feels very much like a baby. It's really awful.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I think with grief, and people do die, and as you get older, it happens with an increasing frequency, and it's always it's very sad. But it would be sad if it wasn't sad. It's that thing. Grief is the price we pay for love. You have to you go, okay, that's fine.
I loved one of your many viral clips because I know that you have pivoted into being a social media superstar as well as a television and touring star, where the man had lost his wife, and he spoke about that in your show, which could have really been too heavy for the room. But you spoke to him about grief, and you came down from the stage and you went and you gave him a little embrace, I think.
Yeah, that happens quite a lot. Like people, if they send in a message, or if they want to shout something out, or you get involved in a conversation. I think that has a place in comedy. I think the taboo around, death or terrible things.
Yeah.
Like that's when I think having a dark sense of humor really pays out when something dreadful happens, because at least you can, because I suppose humor is, at its most simplistic, it's about perspective.
Yeah.
It's about being able to step back from something and go, well, at the worst day of your life, when everything went wrong, is also the best anecdote you've got. So it's that thing of like finding those balance between those things of like going, well, actually, if you can see that this is a great anecdote in the moment, it's fun.
My husband lost his dad when he was really young, and I've heard this from a lot of people who've lost people close to them, that when you become the age that your parent was when they died, then that's a really tricky year. And everything after that feels almost like you being in the afterlife. Your mom died pretty young. And are you in a few years going to be the age that
Yeah,
Your
I
mom,
suppose
yeah.
I will be, but I don't think that would be something I would particularly think about.
you don't think about it at all?
No, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't sort of think about that in terms of going. It's a listen. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be sentimental in that way. I wouldn't be going, oh well, I'm that age and she was that age, and oh,
It
okay,
might surprise you. I hear it from a lot of people.
okay.
Does any number feel old to you? Like, when do you think that you will be an old man? Do you ever think, oh, 70s old or 80s old?
No, because it changes, doesn't it? I mean, it's like it depends who you're talking to, and
Yeah.
what you're looking at. So it's that thing of like sometimes you see people and go, "Oh my God, they look incredible."
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at Brad Pitt is what 62 now,
Yeah.
and he looks unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see some people and they're 50 and they look busted. So I don't know.
Hey,
Sorry.
do you think that you'll do things to maintain this look? Like, do you think you will have a facelift?
don't
I
know
had a
about-
facelift, as you know, this year,
Yeah.
and it was
Well, you put me in an awkward position now.
why?
I would, but I would go to a better place. I think. I'd go. There must be people that could do it better.
I don't think so.
What did you ask for?
The Jimmy Carr. They said it was taken.
The yeah, I would get everything done. I think not necessarily to look younger, but just to kind of maintain, to stay healthy is really the thing.
Yeah.
And the vanity stuff on the top of that a little bit.
Would you consider yourself to be vain?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think there's something about from like if you look at the results of like going, okay, well, you spend quite a lot of time taking care of yourself. That must be vanity. And I think it's the product of like I have to approve clips every day. So you're looking at your
See, I don't think that you are. I think it's part of the business, of show business. I think that if you were like just a family man with a different job and you weren't on stage every night, I don't think you'd bother with this stuff. But I think because you're also the machine of Jimmy Carr, you're like, Jimmy Carr should always look like Jimmy Carr.
So I've got quite a simple routine though in terms of like skincare and stuff. It's like it's quite minimal.
What's your
I don't do
skincare routine, please?
That the lady that does my Botox and stuff, Emma Craythorne, she's called. She's wonderful, and she makes a product. So it's two products. It's called Clearer with a K, and one goes on at night. It's like the only things that have proven to work long term is it's the what do they call it? Retinol cream.
Yeah.
So it's a retinol, but it's already mixed in with the aloe vera, so you don't end up looking like a lizard. So you put that on every night, and in the morning there's like a really powerful sunblock
Yes.
moisturizer. It's just two creams.
Are
It's
you
two
wearing
tubes
sunblock every day in this country?
every day? Every day at all times, yeah.
Why in England?
That seems to be 80-90% of aging is sun damage. So I'm always kind of amazed by people that go away and just sort of, love warm weather.
Yeah.
But the idea of baking in the sun just seems crazy to me.
Is wild. And also you can get sun damage from the light on your phone.
Really?
Yes. Ask
Oh, well,
Emma.
Well, I would imagine people are ruined then.
Yeah, they are. It's got like a UVA or UVB. It's got something in it that is the same that's in the
Oh,
sunlight.
we're all. I mean, this is what a way to hear.
I know.
We're all going to look like leather handbags.
But that's probably why she advocates you wearing sunscreen every single day, even if you're in this rainy, grim country.
Yeah. Well, it is my moisturizer, it is my sunblock.
Okay.
I think that's the best way. That's the only way to do it for men, because men will not put on two things.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
I've already done. I think that's enough.
And you're getting Botox.
Yeah.
Are you doing cold plunges,
Every morning. Yeah.
saunas?
Every morning.
Do you take supplements?
Yes. I mean, the obvious one is kind of the AG1 for like if you're traveling and not eating healthily. Athletic Greens is, I'm again not paid by them, don't have anything to do with them, but every day that and a bunch of supplements. Yeah.
Have you considered bringing out a supplement of your own?
No.
Because you've plugged like 3 things already.
No, but if stuff works, I think
Yeah.
that thing of like if stuff actually works, you should talk about it.
Yeah.
That if you travel a lot, if you fly a lot like I do, the fly kit thing's great. AG1 is great because you go, I've had all my greens in a juice in the morning and now I can just get on with the day.
And it's like a powder scoop thing
Yeah.
that you put in water?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's like not as good as having, 6 different colored vegetables on your plate, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. And you sleep properly
Boring.
and you have a healthy
Boring.
relationship and wonderful kids.
Boring.
Do you think that has aged you though, or do you think it's made you feel more young?
Having kids.
Yeah.
Having kids, I think it's the fountain of youth.
Oh,
It's incredible.
if you're their dad.
Yeah, but being dad is it's often
Yeah.
said. It's vice president, isn't it? It's I turn up for big events and birthdays and how do you do? I've always had that thing of like being a dad it's the best because like Christmas morning, right? Christmas morning, the kids open their presents and they're so excited because it's a surprise.
Yeah.
Well, dads have that too. We're sat there thinking, oh, I wonder what we got them. Who got you that? That looks expensive.
And on their birthday, you get to find out how old they are.
Yeah.
He's 4 already.
Oh, what's the code for the Wi-Fi? Oh, it's his birthday. When is that? When is it? Just checking. When is it though?
Is it tough for you traveling so much when you have kids? Is it tougher than it was before you had kids?
Yes. Yeah. It's tough to be away from them, but then it's really fun coming home. And I think the nature of our kind of job, we're very lucky because when we're away, we're away. But when we're home, we're home. We got nothing to do.
Yeah.
It's not like I think guys with regular gigs and girls with regular gigs, like you're out in the morning before they're up, and then you don't get to do drop off and pick up. You don't get to the flexible working thing. We need to change that, I think.
Definitely. Do they know that you're famous?
Yeah, they have they have an idea, or they think everyone's just very friendly.
Everybody knows my dad at the zoo.
Yeah.
Everybody loves my dad. Have you ever brought them to your shows?
No.
Like, not that the content is age appropriate, but I went to a Kevin Hart show and he had his baby up like Simba in The Lion King. He just wanted his baby to feel the vibes and to see I don't know what he was doing. It was actually really inappropriate. He was like, wake him up. And then his wife had to go and wake up this sleeping 8-month-old and bring him to pyrotechnics. And
That sounds crazy.
have you ever done that?
No. Sounds crazy. Also, the gig is it's a day off.
Yeah.
It is a day off. It's like, yeah, I work hard, but then you go, actually coming home, you realize you're working harder at home.
But wouldn't
Parenting is harder than stand-up comedy.
Wouldn't you like them to see you killing in an arena? Would you do
No.
a matinee so they could be there?
No.
Do you think you'd ever voice a cartoon so they could watch it?
No.
So what do they think that you do?
I don't know. I think they think I'm funny.
They think you're funny when you're home and you're dad and you're being funny. Do they know that being funny is your job?
I don't think they've got a concept of it.
Oh, when are you going to tell them?
I don't know how I'm going to break it to them.
It's so cool.
Bad news, guys.
I love that you're kind of Batman. You're kind of keeping it a secret.
Yeah, that seems, I think, pretty appropriate.
Because,
I'm just going to be their dad. They're going to think I'm incredibly lame, no matter what I do.
That
so
is
great.
definitely true. But I knew what my dad did for a job.
What, you knew who your dad was.
When I found out who he was.
Nothing about you says you knew your father.
When I found out
You knew a guy your mom was fucking. Sure, I'd buy
knew
that.
which prison
Yeah.
he was being held at.
Right.
Well, I think it'll be a wonderful reveal for them when they find out their dad is Jimmy Carr. It'll be cool.
Or terrible.
On the subject of reveals, would you like to know your biological age?
Oh, yeah. Tell me my biological age. Yes, you took blood for this podcast.
Why did you give it to us?
I don't know. What I was thinking.
So nice of you.
Thank you. Go ahead. What's my biological age?
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel
Should we bring in
like,
the doctor? Let's bring in someone qualified.
yes, please. I feel like you're a mix of, it could be anything because we have had elite athletes on the show who score really high biological age because they don't rest and recuperate. I wouldn't say that
They
you
score high. What, so
too
they-
old.
Oh, really?
Elite athletes.
Is that weird thing with who's the amazing athlete, FloJo? Remember her?
Mm-hmm.
And she died at 32 or something.
Yeah.
Her heart just gave out, but she was incredibly fit, but not healthy at all, which
Right.
can happen on the margins.
Well, especially with female athletes. So it's interesting you say that they need more recovery time than men.
I'm not worried about my level of recovery time. I feel like I've had a lot of recovery time.
I don't know. You're so busy, but you also seem like you have really well-rounded mental health. You're into self-help books. You've written your own. You have a beautiful family. You've got all the things that would keep it low, and then you look after yourself. So what do you...
I think we took the blood just after Christmas.
Okay.
I definitely had between I think it was the 19th I did my last gig.
Yeah.
And I had basically 2 weeks of it was lovely. If you don't drink much, I think that thing of when you do, it's really fun. So really enjoyed drinking over Christmas. It's great. I think my blood, on the day you took it, it might as well have had an olive in it.
So what do you think your biological age is going to be?
I think it'll be my age. I reckon I'll just hit it on the. I think it'll be about normal. I would
53.
imagine. Let's see. Let's see what happens. It's exciting.
All right, let's bring out Dr. Nicola Conlon, a science woman.
A science woman.
Jimmy Carr, we took your blood, and the people at GlycanAge tested it, and now we are joined by Dr. Nicola Conlon to help reveal your biological
What's
age.
the worst thing that's happened? Then you're not going to tell me I've got AIDS,
No.
right? You've got AIDS, but it's the good AIDS.
You've known all along you have AIDS.
AIDS is, it was the 80s Ozempic, wasn't it?
This is just how your girlfriend finds out you have
Right.
AIDS.
Go on, what do
No.
so?
So what we're measuring is your biological age. So this is how old
Sorry,
you
Catherine, what she's
are.
saying, it's quite a strong accent. I didn't get any of that. Do you get any of that? Something about Biker Grove. Go on, sorry.
So what we are measuring is your biological age.
Right.
Yeah. So
Not my chronological age.
No, which
as
Catherine
we awkwardly
mentioned
discussed earlier. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is how old your body is on the inside. So it's how old your cells are.
Okay. I mean, this sounds like, is this a real thing?
This is real. Yes.
This is real. So
This
how
is
old
a-
my cells are?
How old your cells are.
They're the same age as the rest of me, aren't they?
Well, not necessarily, because quite often, in most people, actually, their chronological age and their biological age don't add up. So some people have a lower biological age, which is great because that says you're kind of aging slower on the inside than you typically should be. But it can
your
al-
cells are behaving
Yeah.
young. They're really
Right.
efficient and effective, and they're firing and they're like metabolizing.
So this could be bad, right? This could be, are you going to do like a countdown and then I die? 10, 9,
Or-
8. Oh,
or it
Christ.
could be really
Or
good.
your cells are behaving really old. Like mine, my biological age, for example, is 77.
What, sorry?
Yeah, 77. So my cells are not
And
efficient.
how old are you?
78. So it's a good
Okay,
result. It was lowered a bit in my last pregnancy to 59, but my cells have a lot of inflammation. They're not efficient.
You're a
Look,
disgrace.
I know. I've learned from Dr. Nicola that my cells look like the cells of a 77-year-old woman on the inside. I know. So
No, I
that's
can-
what it means, right,
yeah.
Nicola?
Do you know what the
Yeah.
terrible thing about that is? No one's surprised.
No, I wasn't surprised. I'm trying to get it up,
But
actually, higher.
you don't even drink, right? You take care of yourself.
I do, but I have lupus and celiac and
So this test measures a lot of, if it's looking at inflammation, so it's measuring the levels of inflammation in the body, because we know that inflammation is something that really drives aging. As Catherine said, it makes your cells not behave as well. It makes them act older. So one of the main markers that we measure in this one is inflammation.
I was worried you hadn't said inflammation enough there, but I think we probably covered it.
Good.
Okay, so on, what's my biological age? What have we got?
your biological age.
Is
Mm-hmm.
It's under this cloche.
is it?
Yes.
Why? Is that because it's a
It's a big reveal. It's a format
Oh,
point
sure.
that we've just done
Okay.
for this series
all right,
for
great.
the first time, and it's going well.
Okay,
Jimmy Carr, your biological age.
is under a cloche.
27.
27.
27.
Yeah.
Well, that seems mental.
That's great.
That is really
that
good.
great?
That is really good. And I am not surprised. I've actually written on my clipboard here, dream guest.
Dream
Dream guest,
guest.
because everything you were saying, as Catherine will know, is everything that I always tell people as the advice of how to lower your biological age. So the
Have
diet,
I won something?
sleep.
I feel like I've won something.
yeah,
27.
27.
But
on
it
the
is
inside.
also
Yeah.
the age that rock stars die. So
Yeah, I could be in the 27 club still.
yeah.
So everything I'm doing is right.
Yeah, so like first of all, the foundational stuff, the stuff, that you said's boring, all the sleep, the diet, the exercise, that is the foundational things. Those are the things that are ultimately going to keep you young on the inside. But then I was also really excited to talk to you because you're doing this sort of extra layer of things.
What-
Things like the cold plunge, the sauna.
Well, it seems to me like, I listen to a lot of Huberman Lab and I love his work. And it seems like for all cause mortality, that's the thing because it is the inflammation. There's only 8 things that kill you and they're all caused by inflammation.
Yep.
And so every day getting really hot and really cold.
Yeah.
And also I love it. I don't know why I like it so much. I think it's like you get dopamine for like about 6 to 8
do.
hours afterwards.
Yep. A
If you
release
get in
of
really cold
dopamine.
water.
Yep.
So if you finish on the cold, you get like dopamine for about sort of 6 hours and it's quite euphoric.
and what are the 8 things that kill you? Me?
It's like you'll know this better than me, but it's cancer, heart disease. What's the other they go, you know this, right?
Yeah, it's all the classic things: the cancer, heart disease, diabetes, dementia, all of the things that we generally get as we get older. So actually, our age is our biggest risk factor for all of those things. So having a younger biological age brings that risk down. And like you say, many people will sort of roll their eyes at things like sauna and be like, is it really going to help me sitting in a hot shed,
But it's also
essentially?
that thing of like, I think for a lot of people, I try and listen to, I love Sam Harris's app, Waking Up. It's fantastic. Like as a meditation app, I love the talks on it and the stories and things.
Yeah.
I love that. I can't meditate. I'm terrible at it. I can never find the time. It always seems like I should be working, I should be doing something. But somehow going in that, the physical manifestation of meditation, of going, oh, well, I'll sauna cold plunge or whatever
Yeah.
for an hour, get up before the kids and do that. That's makes you sort of feel like it's a physical meditation.
It's like a ritual, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and I think that seems to be that's probably got as much benefit to my mental health as the because I think it's a workout for the heart because
Yeah.
everything in my body's opening up when I'm in the hot, and then you get in the cold and everything tightens.
Exactly. And it actually is not just the heart, it's every cell in your body. So you said earlier, we live in this world of abundance and comfort where we're living in comfortable lives, temperature controlled rooms, we're eating 3 times a day. Our lives are very comfortable, and actually our cells like a little bit of stress. And when they get that little bit of stress, they actually switch on a lot of repair functions, a lot of repair pathways. They lower inflammation because this biology that we have inside of us is sitting there waiting, thinking, why do we need to switch this repair on when we're so comfortable? There's no extremes, that we're eating all the time.
It's weird. Someone told me a story about the appendix. You ever hear that story?
Nope.
There's no appendicitis in sub-Saharan Africa. Because it's there to basically the appendix will come in
Filter.
and
Yeah.
it treats pathogens if you eat meat that's gone, meat that's slightly rotten. Your appendix handles those pathogens. That's its function. It's got no function in our culture because
Yeah.
the food's too clean.
Yeah.
So you go, we should be eating stuff that's
Rotten meat. We should be eating rotten meat.
well, you use something.
What are Jimmy Carr's top tips for longevity? Rotten meat.
Yeah,
And you're even younger than this because when we took your blood, you said that you'd had
a couple of weeks of
a
being
couple of
badly
weeks of
behaved.
drinking. I'm eating rotten meat.
Yeah,
So you do sauna first, cold plunge second.
yeah.
Doesn't that make the cold plunge extra cold?
Yeah, it's good though because you're looking forward to getting in there. Like, you want
Yeah.
it to be brutal on both.
Wow. For
And
how
then
long? For how long are you in the cold?
In the cold, like I think about 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
I sort of think anything more than that is you're just showing off. But it's sometimes you are just showing off.
How small can a penis get?
Oh, like real small. Well, that's a weird thing of like I've spoken about this before, but like I went to a place in Germany, and they've got this amazing thing. Oh no, it wasn't Germany. It was Austria. They've got the biggest kind of swimming pool, sauna, steam, ice complex. Right. I got told off by a guy because I had swimming shorts on.
Yeah.
I had like trunks on.
Oh, yeah.
And they went, we don't do that. Take those off. I'm fine in the sauna. I know how to sit in a sauna. It's fine. You just sit like that. Don't put your legs together. Everything. You're fine. I know how to handle my junk.
Yeah.
Okay, so fine. So then I get in the cold plunge, which is like they break the ice to get in the cold in this place. And you get out of the cold plunge, you're not wearing shorts. It's like, and some new guys walk in, you go, oh no, could you come back in a minute? Because this is fine. This
I've
isn't
been in
me.
the cold plunge.
Terrible.
Oh no. Well, how do you feel about this result? Are you surprised?
I'm really surprised. I thought I would have been happy with anywhere in my 50s for the thing. But it's very sort of encouraging. It's very nice.
Yeah, it
But I suppose
shows-
it's easy. It's kind of easy when you've got, the wherewithal. People have got incredibly busy lives and they can't be doing sauna cold plunges every day. And then, eating well is kind of luxury
Yeah.
these days. It's like it's the taking care of yourself. It's easier to eat hyper processed food because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's that thing where you go, I remember when I was a kid, bread used to go bad.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
you
it
can have,
doesn't.
bread's just there forever, last the house.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I feel very privileged.
Does it make you feel encouraged to do this stuff more, or are you going to take your foot off the gas a bit, or just keep maintaining?
I think I'm going to start like drinking heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah, really heavily. Make a concerted decision and
Great.
investigate drugs. What else should I do? What else is the
So an important point is when you say do it more, I wouldn't do any more. Because what we do see is in people that are big fans of Huberman and, biohacking and things like that, some people take it to the extreme. And we've tested a lot of people's biological age where they are doing the cold plunge, the sauna, the fasting, like all the things that they think are going to help bring it down, but taking it to the extreme. And they actually come back older because the body likes that little bit of stress, but it doesn't like that chronic stress. And even when it's physical stress, not mental stress, that cortisol is continuously up, the inflammation goes up, and then they get a real shock when they think they're doing everything right, but actually it's just too much. So all I can say is whatever you're doing now, whatever levels you're doing it right, it's paying off. So I would absolutely stick to that.
And 27, it's the rock star dying age. So don't try heroin.
Definitely not. It's a great result. It doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me. Though, if you'd been like super old from all the touring, maybe that wouldn't have surprised me either. I don't know. You are on the inside the age you look on the outside. And that is not 53. That is 27.
I mean, yeah. Terrific.
That was your friend and mine, Jimmy Carr, 27. He's got a YouTube original out right now called Roadkill, unless you'd like to see him live, and then you can get tour tickets. He's on stage every night. Go to jimmycarr.com for those. You can follow Jimmy Carr on socials, or you can see him hosting the latest series of Last One Laughing on Prime. And as ever, please like and subscribe to What's My Age Again for more incredible episodes like this one.